So this is my first ever Manker flashlight, and they're a company that creates some pretty unique looking designs, but this one in particular caught my eye. It's the MC13 II SE, rated at 4,500 lumens, 665 meters range. It's basically a spotlight that fits right in your pocket, and I think it's ideal for EDC users who just want a long range flashlight without the bulk. So it runs off an 18350 cell, and it has this gigantic round LED in there that's reminiscent of the SBT 90.2. And yeah, it produces a uniquely large hotspot that you don't get with other long range EDC flashlights. And check this out, you can unscrew the back and turn it into an 18650 flashlight. So I'll go through some of the features. I guess it's pretty simple. You just press to turn on. You can lock the light as well. It's on the memory mode. Just press and hold to go from low, medium, high. Double press for turbo. So let's have a look at what you get here in the box. So this is the packaging here, and there are a few different colors that you can choose from. Mine comes in black, as you can see, and there's a decent amount of padding inside as well. You do get some accessories. So you get this light diffuser up the top here, and it's semi-transparent, so it's kind of interesting because you still get a bit of throw with the light, but most of it is just flood. You also get this USB-C charging cable, a couple of spare O-rings, and also a lanyard. Manker include an 18350 battery, and you can see here it's rated at 1100 milliamp hours and has a continuous discharge of 15 amps. So while the Manker MC13 II SE accepts an 18650 cell, you can also buy a 21700 extension tube, and I think that's going to be ideal if you want to get that maximum power out of this flashlight. So here is a little side-by-side of the Manker MC13 II SE next to my Speras M4. And the Speras M4 is a little bit shorter, as you can see there. And I think that just has to do with this extendable tube design. It's only looks about maybe 2 centimeters longer at the most. The head's pretty much the same, 40 millimeter bezel, but the M4, as you can see, utilizes a TIR lens instead of a reflector. And this is my Convoy S8, so more kind of traditional tube style flashlight with the smaller bezel, but it also takes an 18650 cell. So you can see it's quite, it's significantly shorter, but the head is larger. So here's a little close-up of the Manker MC13 II SE, and it's really nicely machined. It feels premium, aircraft grade aluminium 6061, and the anodizing feels slightly grippy. It's in between matte black and shiny, and yeah, in terms of the machining, it's very nice. There's no inconsistencies or imperfections. There's some little cutouts here on the head underneath as well here to really aid with that heat dissipation. And as you can see, I mentioned before, the head is significantly larger than the rest of the body. It's 4 centimeters in diameter. I like that there's some knurling here on the back, really gives it a bit of extra grip. And this extension mechanism, like I demonstrated before, basically you just unscrew it and then you pull out like that. But it makes more sense if I actually bring in an 18650 cell. So I've got the Samsung 30Q here. So basically just put that through, and it does sit a little snug, but as you can see, this is what the light looks like when it's completely extended. You can see inside the extension tube, there is that secondary tube there that sort of slides in and out. And right at the end, there are some threads that allow you to sort of screw it in place. There's a pretty chunky spring here under the head, as you can see. And you're actually able to power this light with a 30 amp battery if you have one. So it makes sense that there's a pretty chunky contact there. So the light is operated through this metal switch here on the side. It's a metal E switch, and it has a battery indicator there as well. If you press and hold or just bring it into moonlight, you can see that blue indicator there. And you've also got onboard USB-C charging here through the back. You've got that rubber port that covers it up. And there is an area on the side of the light here to attach a friction ring or a clip, but there was no clip included for some reason. The light does also tail stand very easily, and it's got a pretty strong magnet in there. And if you prefer to use lanyard, you can attach it to the back here. And I tried to look up the specifications of this LED, and Manker only state that it's a cool white spotlight LED that's rated at 6,000 to 6,500K. So I'm not sure who makes this LED, but it really looks like a round version of the SBT 90.2. Has similar specifications as well. It probably generates a nicer looking beam. I did mention in a previous video that I wish someone would make like a larger version of the SFT 25R. So I think this might be it. And you've also got this smooth reflector in there, maximizes that throw. Have a nice large hotspot. Toughened glass as well with dual anti-reflective coatings on both sides. The lens is slightly recessed, so there's a bit of protection there. All right, so let's go through the UI. Now, firstly, in order to access the moonlight modes, just have to press and hold. And the first moonlight mode is so low, you can't even see it, barely see it. But if you press and hold down from the moonlight mode, there's actually 3 different moonlight modes, okay? Single press to turn off. Now, when you turn on, it's just going to go into the memory mode for the main 3 modes. So basically low, medium, high, and you just press and hold to switch between those 3. Double press from turbo to turbo, and you can also double press to access turbo from off if you like. There's also a few special modes in here. So if you triple click, you get a strobe, press and hold. You get an SOS mode in there, and also a beacon mode. Okay, there's also an electronic lockout, so you can press 4 times, the light will blink twice, or more than twice, and there you go. It's completely locked out. 4 presses, and you can switch it on. There's also a mechanical lockout. You can just unscrew the battery tube like that. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with the Manker MC13 II SE, and this is the first batch of tests that I ran with the 18350 cell. So let's have a look at how we go. The turbo mode, you can see here, lasts for just over 3 minutes before stepping down, which is pretty impressive. Steps down to about 30% output by the 3.5 minute mark. Here's a second ceiling bounce test with the 18350 cell on high mode, and you can see here the light pretty much lasts between 80 to 100% of output all the way to the 8-minute mark, where you see a drop and the light steps down to about 50% output. Here is a third ceiling bounce test on the medium mode, and you can see here pretty much get between 90 and 100% output throughout the duration of the test. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with an 18650 cell that I have. This is the Samsung 30Q, just rated at 15 amps, but I'm pretty sure it was drawing more than that, considering that it was just a lot brighter than the 18350. But yeah, if you've got a proper 30 amp cell, you're probably going to get even better results in terms of overall brightness and range. And you can see here the light starts off at 100% and steps down just before the 1 minute mark and steps down to about 20%. Here's a second ceiling bounce test with the Samsung 30Q, and you can see the light steps down just around the 2.5 minute mark to about 50%. And the third test here on medium mode with the Samsung 30Q, you can see between 95 and 100% output. I ran a bunch of tests with my Oppo Lightmaster Pro as well, and you can see there's a significant difference in range when you compare just using the normal 18350 cell to an 18650 cell, in my case the Samsung 30Q. So on turbo I got 471 meters of range with the 18350 and 663 meters of range with the 186. On the other modes as well, you can see that the 18650 also outperformed the 18350 in terms of range. CRI was pretty similar, so 63 to 64, and the CCT range from 5,400 to 5,500K. So some considerations if you're thinking of getting the Manker MC13 II SE. So the first one is the turbo mode is pretty powerful, but it just heats the light up quickly. So don't expect to be able to kind of hold on to this light for a few minutes. You know, you're definitely going to have to switch into a lower mode, but it's great that, you know, they've managed to squeeze so much power and range into a little flashlight like this. The second consideration is that the runtime is a lot shorter with the included 18350 battery. So yeah, it's probably better if you want to unlock the full potential to either use an 18650 battery in there or upgrade to a 21700 battery tube. You can buy one of those as well. And the fourth consideration is that it does come with a premium price point. You know, there's a few other lights out there like the Workhorse TIR version with the SFT40, and yeah, that's going to be significantly cheaper. But again, with the Manker MC13, you do get a much nicer construction. You get that huge round LED in there as well, so it's going to be a lot brighter. Plus, the overall construction quality, I think, is better. Overall, the Manker MC13 II SE is a compact powerhouse. It's for people who want lots of throw in a light that you can actually carry along with you, and it's well built. Got USB-C charging on it as well, and hits like a much larger flashlight. I think this will be great for anyone who wants to carry around a pocket spotlight, so EDC guys out there. If you need to spot something from a distance and still produce a ton of light and spill, you know, hikers, anyone working outdoors as well, I think this would be a great tool, especially with the 18650 and the 21700 extended battery tube. Does make it a lot more practical than some of those other smaller 18350 lights. But it's great that if you want to put an 18350 battery in there, it's going to make it much more pocketable. I really like that balance of performance, great construction quality, and size. So if you're thinking of getting this flashlight, check out the link in the video description. I'll put a discount voucher there if you're interested. And if you have questions as well, just let me know down below in the comments. I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, do me a big favor, click the like button and share the video with someone who might be interested. Just helps me to get my channel out to more people. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews and keep up to date with the latest flashlight news, make sure you subscribe. Manker MC13 II SE, and this is on turbo. And as you can see, it produces a ridiculously large hotspot. It's also making a great hand warmer tonight. It's pretty cold out here in Melbourne. Illuminating these power lines here. I'll go through all the other lower modes as well. Low, medium, high. So low, medium, high. The moonlight modes aren't worth demonstrating, they just don't show up on camera. And tell you what, this thing does get pretty hot, but it's amazing it's producing this much light. It's turbo. It's got a little spotlight in the palm of your hand, but geez, it is getting quite hot, the head of the light. So I'll swap hands. That's what it kind of looks like when you're holding it anyway. Manker MC13 II SE. This is turbo on a more sort of close-up shot. Just put it through the lower modes now. Low, medium, high. Tons of spill and big hot spot. Go for a walk. Manker MC13 II SE. That's turbo. Kind of like a mid-range now. It's producing so much light, and there's some areas just underneath where the trains run through. It's really almost too much. Pop it back down to like the lower modes. And geez, yeah, tell you what, the head does get really hot. But the performance is outstanding for such a little flashlight. It's high, low, medium, high, turbo. Sort of swap in between turbo and lower mode here, whichever one was in memory before. Manker MC13 II SE turbo, and it's just incredible, this light. Produces so much light and throw. I've had to actually step the ISO down on the camera so that it will not blow everything out in the foreground, but it actually looks brighter in person in the background than how it appears here on camera. But look at that. Just focus that camera a little bit better. It's all manual at this stage, and we can go to the lower modes as well. So that's your kind of got a low, medium, and high mode. Low, medium, high. Okay. Go for a little bit of a walk. Even that low mode, that is more than enough light to walk around. Unfortunately, the moonlight modes are way too dim to use for walking. That's the highest moonlight mode I can actually get to show up here on camera. So you are going to be using probably just this the lowest mode there. Hope for the best as well, because this light does get quite hot.